All right, this is take number 2. Someone just interrupted me. We're doing Winter Dreams by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I'm Alan Loibner-Waitkus, and this is American Lit 1865 through present. Before I begin talking about Winter Dreams, I want to address F. Scott Fitzgerald a little bit. Very famous American writer, not generally considered the best American writer, but I love lists, and in fact, that's one of the, anytime Rolling Stone, any magazine, anybody does, rates things, I'm in. I probably own 12 to 20 books in my office that rate the greatest authors of all times, or the greatest writings of all times, and that kind of thing. And when it comes to, as I said, authors of all times, F. Fitzgerald may make American lists. But the thing is, The Great Gatsby, on pretty much every list I've seen but one, and it rates The Great Gatsby as the greatest American novel ever written. The one that rates something else is To Kill a Mockingbird I saw recently. Someone rated that number 1, and I completely disagree. I'm not a fan of that book. To Kill a Mockingbird, I don't think it's as great as everybody thinks it is, but I also don't think The Great Gatsby is as great as everybody thinks it is. I do enjoy teaching it. I enjoy teaching it because it's easy to teach. But the symbolism, again, much like trifles, the symbolism is easy for students to pick up on. It's easy for me to pick up on, but at no point do I feel like it's stupid, that it's insulting to your intelligence. There is one symbol with eyes watching over that's very clear, and I think super transparent, and but other than that, Fitzgerald does a good job. I have a student now, when it comes to Winter Dreams, I have a student I really respect a lot. His name's Spencer. I'll probably talk about him, and I'm hoping he moved to Dallas, but I'm hoping when he comes back through, he'll film one of these videos with me. I'm planning on a couple of the things, bringing in some people who to kind of do a podcast style thing where we discuss something to bring you more than just my perspective, and I'm hoping he'll join me. And I was really wishing it could be for this video, because he hates Winter Dreams, and he doesn't dislike Faulkner, and he thinks that, again, the symbolism and the other literary things Fitzgerald is using are lazy and not as well done as they are in other works. And I see his perspective. With me, it really kind of comes down to the ending. I think there's a great ending to this, and it sends a message, and so we'll discuss that. But let's go through the plot overview first. Again, Dexter starts as a caddy, right, at the Cherry Creek Golf Club, and immediately sort of wants to quit. Now, he wants to quit because he, I think, is tired of working for people, and this Judy Jones character really gets under his skin. She's a child, and what's interesting about her as a child is she's unattractive, but he knows by looking at her that when she reaches maturity, she will be attractive. And a lot of students in my on-campus classes get really perplexed by this. If she's ugly now, she's going to be ugly when she's an adult. And think about it this way. Think about it the opposite way. We have child actors and celebrities and those kinds of people who, were cute as kids. Macaulay Culkin, the kid from Sixth Sense, you could DJ from Roseanne, right? And then they grow into adults and not so cute anymore. And it's not just the boys, it happens with girls too. And so this is sort of the opposite. And there was an incident growing up where a girl who was in high school with me had her mother had a late in life child who was about 2 years old. And while the girl who played basketball for my dad's basketball team would bring the little sister with her, and my mother, who's never rude about people, would sort of comment on, she more felt bad on how unattractive that kid was. And the older sister, who was a homecoming queen and very attractive, I was looking at her one day and looking at the kid and looking at her and looking at the kid, and I realized, give her some years, and all the features that made this girl's basketball player so attractive were there in the kid. It just looked weird on the kid, right? But once she grew into those looks, she'd be just fine. And so he sees that in Judy Jones. Now, he goes from that, goes from that to owning a laundry store and becoming wealthy. He goes to an out-of-state, we can probably assume Ivy League college here, and comes back as a businessman. Now, what's interesting about Dexter's career, choices here, is all of them are, really, he's serving, rich people. When he's a caddy, he's carrying bags for rich people. Then he owns a laundry mat, and is washing rich people's clothing, and that's how he makes his money. And include, to make it even more degrading, they include that he's figured out how to get their underwear and their delicates clean. So we see that. Then he, of course, serves in the army, which is the ultimate servitude. And then even when you're doing stocks, which is what he ends up doing in sort of the banking industry, he is, basically serving other people by handling their money. Now, I don't know how strong of an argument that is or how important that is, because most of what we do relates directly to, making money. We need rich people or working for other people or doing something to make money. But I think that that's kind of interesting. Now, throughout all of these careers, Judy Jones is always sort of there and in his mind. And after, finally, he becomes engaged to Irene. And, we don't know a lot about Irene. She's described, but, in my mind, she's not attractive. I think he's clearly not in love with her because he's obsessed with Judy Jones. And so right before they're going to announce their engagement, one second. Sorry, I had to drink a soda. Right before he announces their engagement, he goes out and without her because she has a headache, and he meets up with none other than Judy Jones and ends up cheating with Irene with her. Now he knows that this is an indiscretion. They're not married. He could, it's not the end of the world. He's not the first person to do this. It shouldn't matter. But then he notes 10 years later, okay, so they jump ahead 10 years later and say that he, basically was ditched after a month by Judy Jones. And so he, of course, sacrificed marriage, and as far as we know, was never married because of this obsession with Judy Jones. Now, FITZGERALD is known for symbolism throughout his stories, and there are three symbols here I want to look at rather quickly. There's the golf balls. And those are seen as two things. Number one, when Dexter comes back to the golf course, he adopts the use of the white golf balls, like all the other rich people, again, feeling that he's got to fit into this, lifestyle that he's always dreamed of being, and being someone actually playing at the country club. The other thing is Judy Jones, who hits the ball. When the next time he runs into her as an adult, she hits the ball into someone he's playing with, and rather than apologize, when the guy says, you hit me with a golf ball, she says, I said 4, sort of like, dumbass, you're supposed to watch out for me when I scream 4. And what this is doing symbolically is it's really, this is a leisure activity, which should be fun, right? Which is how Judy Jones sees relationships, as leisure activities, right? She's just having fun. And, a golf ball, I had a neighbor when I was a kid who somebody hit in the head with a golf ball, and he ended up in, the emergency room with a concussion. You get hit with a golf ball, and it's pretty painful. And so it's kind of showing that Judy Jones, in her leisure and this game that she plays with Dexter, just like the game she plays with golf, has the serious possibility of injuring someone. There's also the boat is a major symbol people talk about. I'm not going to get too far into that, other than the boats generally symbolize life. Is it out of control? Is it in control? Is it that kind of thing? You're sort of floating freely, and here we have Dexter controlling the boat, but Judy Jones is behind it, disconnected. And there's some other, if you want to reread that part, there's some other things related to the motor interfering what he's trying to think, and that kind of stuff. Winner, which is in the title, is one of the biggest symbols here, and we open the short story with Dexter talking about fall and how much he likes fall, and because winter's coming, and we see him on the golf course snow skiing in the snow in the winter alone. Now that's very important because for several reasons. Number one, we get that image of him being alone, which is how he's going to ultimately end up. We see him, doing the wrong thing, right? It's just, you're not supposed to, it's just not how it's done. You don't ski on the golf course. That's not what it's used for. And it's the same thing with kind of Irene and Judy Jones, that he's not using things how he's supposed to. Irene is supposed to be sort of the wife type. He's supposed to move on past Judy Jones. Now, what's up with the ending? Well, at this point, he's left town. Devlin comes to visit, whom, is a client or whatever, mentions Judy Jones. He lives in New York, and again, she's back up in Detroit, he said. She got married and moved, and she's, he sort of pities her because she's, from what you could tell, she's probably gained some weight. She's not as attractive as she used to be. She's had all these kids, and she's hopelessly devoted to this man who's terrible to her, who cheats on her, all of this other stuff. And again, the key here being hopelessly devoted, a terrible man, and no real beauty anymore. And that's going to be important to Dexter. And that's where we see Dexter said, he never wishes he'd had to, drink more. And then he begins to cry. And so the question is, what is he crying for? Now, most people read it as he's crying because now he knows he can't have her, or he's crying because he knows that she's no longer attractive and he doesn't want her, or those kinds of things. And that's not what he's crying about. Remember this title, Winter Dreams, okay, which relates back to that solitude. This is the dream that he's had. He knows it's not going to work out, okay? He knows that, and so logic tells him that, but the idea that she's still there is what's taken away, and that's why he cries. He cries over just the loss of the idea, the loss of this dream. And I think that a lot of readers, especially older ones or people who've been in serious relationships or first loves, really kind of understand that, because you find yourself a lot of times, I've heard from other people, that you find yourself kind of obsessed with that person. If only had been that person your whole life, you just, it's got to be that person. It's got to be that person. And if you looked at it without rose-colored glasses, you'd see that it's not going to work out. It wouldn't be. You'd be married a month and be miserable. I mean, I remember being hung up on an ex once, and my cousin giving me the great advice, and he just said, had it just not ended so suddenly in a month, you would have been over it. And you would have been the one doing the breaking up, and you would have been the one wanting out, and that kind of thing. And looking at it in retrospect, it's true, but it didn't make it sting any less. And I think a lot of us really realize that we have these dreams, we have these things that hold on to. No matter how much success Dexter had, his real dream was focused on landing and marrying Judy Jones, and he never got to do that. And now he knows he never will, but even the option has been taken away from him by Devlin. And so that's why he cries, and I think that's what makes it an interesting story for me. So if you have any questions about it, just let me know, and I will be back next week with whatever's next on your syllabus. I'll have to look. Have a good one.